Hello everyone, this video is going to be a tutorial on how to complete your October timesheet as well as how to use the new timesheet tracker. Before we start off with the tutorial, I do want to go over a couple of things just so everyone's aware and understands. First thing I want to talk about is not exceeding the 12 hours per week. Remember that you're only allowed to work only 12 hours max per week. This is mainly for the students that worked the month of September. If you reported days the last week of September, please make sure that if you already worked 12 hours, you shouldn't be reporting hours this first week of the month. Just because it's a new month, it doesn't mean that it's a new week. So if you already worked 12 hours these couple of days for September, that means that these days you should have not worked. Let's say if you work 6 hours this week, then that means you can only work a max of 6 hours for this following week on October. So just please make sure that when reporting hours and the month ends like this and starts off like this, to always make sure you don't exceed the 12 hours. For this month of October, it ends on a full week, so it ends on Saturday, and then November will start off November 1st, which is a new week. So this wouldn't happen for the following month, but with some other months, this does happen. So please make sure that you are not reporting hours more than 12 hours on the same week, even though it starts off in a new month. Okay, and then another thing I wanted to mention is that everyone receives 3 hours extra. These 3 hours, you get them for searching for your project. This is just a one-time thing, so if you already received the 3 hours last month, that means that you're not going to receive them again. And remember, I will be the one inputting the 3 hours, so please make sure not to include them. But in order for me to include the 3 hours, you shouldn't be working. I can't report it on a 12-hour week, just because if I put 3 hours extra, that'll be 15 hours. So please make sure to leave space for those 3 hours, especially if you're going to be working 12 hours every week. Then if you're going to do that, I won't be able to add those 3 hours unless you work 9 hours one week. Then I'll go ahead and add those 3 hours. But if you do not plan to work those 12 hours every week, then do not worry about it. I should be able to input those hours somewhere in your timesheet. And the last thing I want to go over before we start the tutorial is about the last week, how to report the last week on your timesheet. So I know a lot of students have been confused about this last week and the way the timesheets when they're due. So just letting you know, timesheets are due October 23rd. This falls on a Friday. This is actually next Friday. Today is October 16th, Friday. So a week from now, your timesheet's going to be due. And when we say timesheets, the due date, what that means is that by the 23rd on Friday, I should be receiving your timesheet approved already with your faculty sponsor. That doesn't mean that you should be sending your timesheet barely, or that you should barely be sending your timesheet out to your faculty sponsor for approval. So please make sure that when you see a due date, which for this month is going to be October 23rd, that means that your whole timesheet should be already completed. And we shouldn't be asking for your sponsor signature. Also, a new thing about the timesheets is that you're going to receive this through DocuSign. So it will not get sent through a PDF no more like this. For the most part, you're going to receive an email from DocuSign, something like this right here. You would review your document. When you review your document, it opens this up in DocuSign. And as you can see, you actually have fillable boxes now for the timesheet. So I already went ahead and added all my hours. I also have my tracker right here where I added my hours. So with the timesheet, what's going to happen is you're going to receive this through email. You're going to fill it out. You're going to sign it. Once you sign it, I'm going to get a copy for pre-approval. just to make sure that you're reporting your hours correctly. After I pre-approve it, it'll get sent out to your faculty sponsor via DocuSign as well. And then it'll ask for their signature right here. So this should be an easier process for everyone since everyone has access to DocuSign. It'll be easier for you to fill out and to sign, and as well for your faculty to sign and approve. What I would suggest is that when you complete your timesheet and you sign it, reach out to your faculty sponsor and let them know that you have completed your timesheet and that they should receive the DocuSign within a day or two. That way they are aware that they should be receiving an email from DocuSign to verify your timesheet. So please make sure that you communicate with your sponsor when you submit your timesheet as well. Sometimes DocuSign does glitch, and the emails we do not receive them. So you might be the only person that receives them. So always verify if we received your timesheets, if your sponsor received the timesheet and approved them as well. We will be letting your sponsors know about the new change with DocuSign, but remember, it is your responsibility to notify them when you have sent your timesheet for approval to them. So back to reporting on the timesheet. I know last month some of you were confused about this last week. So I said your timesheet is due on October 23rd, which means that this whole week right here is going to be future reported hours. And even this week right here might be future reported hours, since we should have your timesheet by Friday. So what that means is that you should already know ahead of time what hours you plan to be working this week. Like I said, you should be having a schedule to input your hours better in your timesheet. If you're on a schedule when it comes to reporting the end of the month, it would be easier for you and for your sponsor. So this last week, although the timesheet is due ahead of time, you're always going to report your future reported hours. If you plan to work this week, please go ahead and add them. If you don't add them, then you will not be getting paid for this last week of October, or in general for every last week of the month, since your timesheet would always be due about a week before the month ends. So please keep in mind to always report your hours right here and to report your future hours. What happens if you did not end up working these hours and you submitted your timesheet? What would happen is, if you let me know ahead of time, let's say if the month hasn't ended and you let me know that you didn't work some days during this week, then it's possible that I can still contact payroll and they are able to change it. But if you let me know after the month ends and it's already the following month, what would happen is payroll will actually take away whatever hours you didn't work this month. They'll take it away from your new paycheck. So for example, if this were to happen with the October paycheck, then for your November paycheck, they'll take away the hours that you didn't end up working for October in November's paycheck. Okay, so one more time, please don't forget to report these hours in your timesheet when they're due on the 23rd. And if you don't end up working those hours, please let me know. Like I said, on the 23rd, I should be receiving your faculty sponsor's approval. So if you want to start sending out your timesheet by October 22nd, if that ends up working for you, then it's fine. Go ahead and do that. But remember, I should be receiving your approved timesheet on the 23rd from your sponsor and yourself, not just your approval by then. Another thing I wanted to go over is the DocuSign. Since you're going to be getting this through email, if you open this up and save it up for later, what's going to happen is that you will receive another email from DocuSign. So let's say if you go to these older emails, this link won't longer work to receive your to be able to reach your timesheet. So you'll always go to the newer email to review your document, and then that way you can see the timesheet. If you get a message in your email, let's say you put a review document and your timesheet doesn't appear, what would appear, I believe it'll say send a new link. If you see send a new link, go ahead and press that, and it'll send you a new email where you will have access to the new updated link for your timesheet. So remember, if you want to go back to complete your document, you will put other action, finish later, and that way you'll be able to edit later on your timesheet. Let's say if you want to just complete the first couple of weeks and wait until the next following week to complete the last 2 weeks, then you can go ahead and do that. Make sure to put finish later and then use the updated link. Alrighty, so I am gonna go over the timesheet tracker real quick. I'm going to explain how the tracker works so everyone is aware. So with the tracker, you have to make sure to follow the instructions. One of the main ones is how to properly input the hours. So real quick, I am going to tag down these hours again, just so you're aware of how to properly input them. If you don't input the proper values, then what would happen is that the timesheet actually will not count the hours correctly. And also, quick note as well, we sent out this tracker twice. If you received it on Friday, please use the updated version. The updated version will be counting the hours correctly. The first one that was sent out on Friday did not count the hours correctly. So please make sure to look at your emails and be looking at the updated version of the tracker, or else your hours will not be counted correctly. And this part right here is actually, I did this myself, so you will not have this. I will go over this right now when I talk about the tracker. Also, another thing to note is that for the first day on October 1st on your tracker, I believe that this day is already filled out. Obviously, I'm sure none of you worked these hours, so please make sure to update the hours or delete these hours if you didn't end up working that day. Alrighty, so I'm gonna go ahead and delete these just to show you how to properly input the hours. So when reporting hours for the morning, the AM, please make sure to put whatever time it is in the morning, and you don't have to put AM. All you have to do is 9, and it'll automatically generate the AM. It'll detect that it's AM. But when you are gonna report for PM, you do have to make sure to include the PM, but also include a space. So I would put 1:30 space PM, and it'll count that I worked 4 hours and 30 minutes. And then that same day, I ended up working a second shift. So I have the option right here to report a second shift during that same day. So that same day, later on, I went to work at 3:20 space PM. And I ended up working until 4:50 space PM. And that was just an hour and a half. So 4 hours and a half and 1 hour and a half, I worked a total of 6 hours. The proper time right here should actually be 1 p.m. since I have already the conversion right here. Okay, so one thing to note about the timesheet tracker and your timesheet is that the timesheet tracker counts the minutes, the hours, and the minutes. Your timesheet, your actual timesheet wants you to report the hours in tenths. So what that means is, I have pulled up the timesheet right here so it's easier to view. So what that means is that I'm going to show my tracker real quick. So for the first day of October 1st, I reported hours from 9 a.m. to 9:30 to 1:30 p.m. So right here, it's wrong. Alrighty, so I have fixed this so there's no confusion and we're all on the same page. So this October 1st, I worked from 9:30 to 1:30. So as you can see, I have 4 hours right here, and then from 3:20 to 4:50. As you can see right here, that's an hour and a half. So the way the timesheet wants you to track it is they don't want you to include the minutes. They want you to convert those minutes in tenths. So what that means is right here, I worked an hour and 30 minutes. So what I would do is those 30 minutes, I would look at my sheet, at my little chart that I have right here, and look where 30 minutes falls under. So as I can see, I see 25 minutes to 30 minutes. That means 5/10. So instead of reporting an hour and 30 minutes, what I would do is 1 hour, 0.5, as it shows right here. So that is the only difference with the timesheet tracker and the timesheet, is that when it calculates the hours, it calculates them different. So as you can see, I have 5 hours and a half right here, and I also included the conversion of 5 hours and 30 minutes, which is the 5.5. I know that, like I said, your tracker does not have this right here. But for the next one, I will make sure to add a line so you can input the conversions. Maybe this will be a little bit easier when inputting your hours. So the timesheet tracker basically already counted. I already inputted all my hours. Okay, so I went ahead and highlighted all the days that I ended up working, so it's easier to view those. So because I use my timesheet tracker, it's easier. So because I use my tracker, it's easier to fill out my timesheet. So I actually already went ahead and filled out my DocuSign timesheet. As you can see, I know it's a little bit hard to view the boxes and distinguish maybe the weeks. So what I would do is actually I minimize my DocuSign and I grabbed my tracker and I was just following along. As I went right here. So then that way I can view the days and I'm not getting confused by the weeks. So something to note is that when reporting your hours, minimize it so you can separate the weeks and it'll be easier to view that way. Okay, so going back to the tracker, like I said, this will automatically count all your hours, which is nice. So in total right here, I ended up working 42 hours and 5 minutes for the whole month of October. So as you can see, my hours are right here. This is my total hours worked. And then these columns right here would be the hours worked for that day or for that shift. And the nice thing about the tracker is that you can report both shifts as if on your timesheet. So if you plan to work 2 shifts in one day, you can go ahead and do that. Something to note is that you're only allowed to work 8 hours max per day. You're not allowed to work more than 8 hours because that's considered overtime and you will not get paid for the overtime. Also, when working more than 5 hours, you're supposed to report a break. So as you can see right here, I ended up working 8 hours. So I got a break by my 4th hour. So even right here where I worked a total of 5.5 hours, I worked 3 hours and a half first and then I finished my 2 other hours. Same thing right here where I worked 6 hours, I worked 3 hours first and then I ended up working another 3 hours. You don't have to have a big gap. You are only required to have a 30-minute lunch. But obviously, if you have class and want to go back to work later, then that'll be a reason to be reporting different hours. But as long as you're not reporting during class time, you're perfectly fine. So I don't want anybody to get confused, which is why I converted everything right here on this side. I wanted to go over the difference in the tracker and the timesheet. Like I mentioned, the timesheet wants you to track your time in tenths. That's why it has this little list right here. But your timesheet tracker, unfortunately, cannot track the hours like this. So it's up to you to actually convert the time. So the times that you would convert, for example, right here, I worked 2 hours and 35 minutes. What I would do is look where the 35 minutes falls under. As I can see, I have 31 minutes to 36 minutes, and that falls under 6. So instead of putting 2 hours and 35 minutes, I would put 2 hours, 0.6. And then same thing right here, where I work 3 hours and 45 minutes. I would look at where 45 minutes falls. And as we can see, it falls under 8. And we would report the 3 hours with 45 minutes as 3.8. So the reason the timesheet does this is because it actually rounds off the numbers. And as you will see right now, the timesheet actually, when it rounds off the numbers, it ends up paying you a little bit more. what they want to do is obviously give you pay you the most amount from your minutes worked. So that's why they round off the number, so you can end up getting paid a little bit more. And as you can see right here in the timesheet tracker, what I ended up doing is I converted everything and I added it. So basically these yellow boxes are a week. So this is the first week, the total of the first week of October, the second week, third week, fourth week, and fifth week. And then this right here is my total hours worked in the converted version. So right here on my DocuSign, I already have all of that filled out already. As you can see, I have 6.5, or that would be 6 hours and 30 minutes. I have 11.5, or that would be 11 hours and 30 minutes. I have 8 hours. I have 9.9, or that's 9 hours and 50 minutes. I have 6.3, or that's 6 hours and 15 minutes. So counting all of this together, counting it by minutes and hours without the conversion of the tenth, it's actually 42 hours and 5 minutes. So if you actually convert the 5 minutes, it'll be, the 5 minutes falls under 1 through 6, so that'll be 1/10. So what this will convert to is 42.1. But if you already converted this earlier, then it would end up coming to the 42.2. So like I said, if you do the conversions, it'll always end up paying you a little bit more, which is why I recommend you do the conversions. When reporting hours in the timesheet, so I know this first week is long, it's supposed to be 5.5. So when reporting hours on your timesheet, please make sure to properly input them. And when you input them right here, I would already do the conversion on them. I would already be converting them. If you don't want to convert them, let's say if you want to do the 6 hours and 30 minutes, that's fine. But by the time you do the total hours, this does need to be converted. Let's say if you ended up doing this, the 42 hours, and then you ended up converting it yourself like this, 42.1, that is correct. But if you would have done the conversions from before, from each week, then you would get a little bit more, like I said. So definitely for next month, I'll have another line so it can count the totals for the week instead of counting the total for the whole entire month. So next month I will be making some changes for the timesheet. In the meantime, if you have any questions about this, or if you have any feedback that you want to give regarding the timesheets, please make sure to let me know. I will take it and definitely improve for the following month. One last thing about DocuSign that I want to talk about is that when I'm done inputting my hours, so as you can tell, I'm already finished. I'm just going to put the 42.2 because I ended up converting them first, which is what I recommend you do. Like I mentioned, I hope this box over here is, you can understand it a little bit better now. So basically, you're turning your minutes into tenths. Like I mentioned right here, this would be an hour and 30 minutes. So I would look under what 30 minutes falls under, and it's 5. So it'll be 1.5. So let's say I'm already done submitting, completing my timesheet. I'm going to provide my signature. And then I'm actually going to put finish. But if you can tell, it's not letting me submit the document. Why is that? It's because these are all fillable spaces and they're actually required to be completed. So what I would do is complete your hours first and then go in and input 0. Or you can put slashes, whatever you want. Obviously, don't put numbers because I'm assuming you did not work these days. So please just make sure to cross these days out. And it's always gonna be like this. I'm not sure. Not everyone's on the same schedule. So unfortunately, I can block off certain days for you. So just please make sure to take these days, input some sort of text in here so you can be able to submit your document. Alrighty, so I have already completed the timesheet. I inputted all my values where it was necessary. before I end this video, something I want to let you know is if you're having trouble still with the timesheet, please let me know. Let's say even if you can't complete the timesheet, if you reach out to me on time, I will literally complete the timesheet for you myself. But obviously, this is only if you let me know ahead of time. If you're letting me know on Friday when the timesheet is due that you're having difficulty, it is going to be a little bit harder for me to actually help you out. But if you know that you're having issues, or if you know you don't know how to complete the timesheet, feel free to please reach out to me and let me know. I am more than happy to help you out with this. I know timesheets can be a little bit intimidating. Counting the hours can be a little intimidating. I know you're doing that yourself. So please definitely let me know if you need any help with this. I am here to help you. If you're still not understanding how to do this, it's okay. Like I said, I know this is confusing. And it'll probably take a couple of months to actually get used to your timesheet, especially if this is your first job. So please just reach out to me ahead of time, letting me know that you're having issues with the timesheet. I know the conversions are a little bit confusing. I hope that the tracker helps out a little bit with converting. Remember that if you're gonna convert, try converting right here first, so then that way when you're moving the hours on the timesheet, it's a little bit easier to count. Definitely there will be some changes from my part on the tracker for November. This is a learning experience for myself. So like I said, if you have any comments, any feedback on this, please let me know on both the tracker and your timesheet how to improve it a little bit better. I will definitely be making changes for next month. And like I said, if you need any help, just please feel free to let me know, ask me, email me. We can set up a Zoom meeting so we can see what's going on. But please reach out to me regarding your timesheets if you're having any difficulty. And like I said, once you submit your timesheet, make sure to reach out to your sponsor to let them know. DocuSign does glitch a lot, and there has been a lot of situations where the person will not receive the DocuSign. So please make sure that to always check in, even if you want to check in with me, letting me know like, hey, did you receive my timesheet? You can go ahead and do that, and I'll go ahead and reply to you. If there's anything else that I missed, please let me know so I can include in the next video. So you will be getting something like this every month, a little tutorial just so you can follow along. Okay, now I want to show you what happens after you submit your document. So everything's already filled out. I can submit my document now. I should be able to. It should give me the option. So as you can see, it says right here, done, finish. So right here, it's actually going to give you the option to download your timesheet, but you'll only have obviously the version where you've signed. It doesn't have the completed version. Once your faculty sponsor signs, I believe you will get that copy as well. I'm not sure if this is exactly how it's going to look for you since I had to do it under my name and send it to myself, but it'll look something like that, and it should submit. Okay, I am going to be closing out the video now. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope this was helpful. Please reach out to me with any feedback that would be helpful for the next month. And like I said, if you have any concerns or questions, feel free to email me. We can set up a Zoom meeting. If you still need help with your timesheet, please let me know. I'm here to help you. And remember that your timesheet is due October 23rd, which means I should be receiving yours and your faculty's approval by this day. And you will get instructions on the due date for the timesheet and another email as well. Have a good one.